Hey, here we are again. Welcome back. The topic for this episode is something that's very important to me and has been an important component of the podcast since I started it. I want to keep talking about, and I believe all of us should keep talking to each other and about our mental health. These jobs take a lot from us, emotionally and mentally. And we are losing far too many of our brothers and sisters at their own hands. So let's get into round 9 of the tactical transition tips. This time I'm going to talk about mindfulness and mental resilience. For the close range group, set short-term goals. For the medium range group, cultivate a growth mindset. And for the long range group, integrate mindfulness into your business development. So mindfulness and mental resilience. I know some of you are going to think, oh, this is too touchy-feely. This is, too much in my emotions. But you need to understand that how we respond to stress and crisis has an impact on our overall well-being. Now, throughout this episode, anything I talk about, please understand, I'm not an expert. I am merely giving you the tip of the iceberg. This is a journey that you have to take. But what I would strongly suggest is, besides taking the journey, seek help. Get somebody who truly understands this space and seek a mentor to help you through it. So what is mindfulness and mental resilience? So mindfulness is basically being fully present and engaged in the current moment, in the current situation. It's being consciously aware of everything that's going on around you and taking an interest in what's going on. Whereas mental resilience is our ability to mentally and emotionally deal with crisis or stress, but equally important to that is our ability to rebound and get back to a pre-crisis state so that we're not constantly in, as many of you know, in color red, so to speak, or even, yellow, where you're in that hyper-vigilant state. So those are the two basic definitions. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you an overview of this. But something I want for each of you to think of, and I'm going to run through this list and just think about it from your perspective and which one of these might hit home for you. Frequent overreaction to stress. Do you have extreme anxiety or anger or frustration to relatively minor stressors? Do you have difficulty focusing on the moment? Do you struggle to concentrate, or does your mind always wander? More importantly to that, are you overfixated on past events, or are you overly worried on what's going to happen in the future as opposed to being in the moment right now? Persistent negative thinking. I think every one of us knows people that we work with and around who are constantly pessimistic, who constantly talk negatively about everything that's going on. That's not healthy. Are you overwhelmed by change? Are you somebody who gets stress or anxiety from big or small changes? Do you worry about what's going to happen in the future as opposed to addressing what you can handle right now? A low tolerance for discomfort. Is it hard to cope with physical, emotional, or mental discomfort? Do you just not react to those things that you perceive are difficult or hard? So, again, just something for you to think about as it relates to you. So for my close range group, set short-term goals. Start small. This isn't eat the whole cake in one bite type scenario. Set specific goals as opposed to, I want to get better at mindfulness. No, set a specific goal like, I want to meditate for 10 minutes. I want to journal for 20 minutes. I want to be inside myself for an X period of time. It doesn't have to be those time segments. It could be 5 minutes, but just start it and start small and increase it over time. You need to identify that space, wherever it's going to be, that gives you the ability to get within yourself, that you're free from distractions, not just distractions in the sense of your family, your friends, but distractions of TV, distractions of your phone. Obviously your work, if you have a desk at your house with all of your work papers all over it, having that stuff right next to you might not be the best thing to do. You need that space where you can be completely free of external distractions. It might even need to be a place that's completely dark, but identify that space. And with that, as you're setting small deadlines for when you want to accomplish these tasks, such as identifying a safe space or a comfort space for you, celebrate those. Start journaling all the little things that you're doing to move forward. You've got a lot going on right now. You're that group that's potentially transitioning out in less than a year. So there's an enormous amount on your plate already, but take that little bit of time each day for you and to kind of center yourself and get within yourself. And by journaling it, when you are a little bit down the road and you might hit a stumbling block and feel like nothing's working or you're not improving, so to speak, then you can go back to your journal and you can track those small little successes that you've been able to accomplish, and it will reinvigorate you. For the medium range group, cultivate a growth mindset. You need to break free from what I'll refer to as a fixed mindset, in that, and we all know this about ourselves. I'm guilty of it also. We tend to think that we know everything and we don't want advice from anybody, and we can fix ourselves. This closed-mindedness or this idea that we've got all the answers is not helpful to us. But equal to that, do a review of the people that you spend your time with. Are they that similar mindset? Are they that similar fixed kind of negative, I don't need help from anybody. All the problems are outside of them. It's never about them. Or do they have an open mindset? And do they openly talk about addressing how they're feeling, how these jobs have impacted them? So you need to look at who you're surrounding yourself with, and are they going to encourage you, or are they going to be a hindrance to you? A growth mindset is not going to happen overnight. You've got to take it in small chunks, but you've got to be consistent with it. It's like anything else. It's like going to the gym and working out. It's like getting better at shooting your gun. It's like getting better at writing a report. You need repetitions. The same way with addressing what's going on inside you, both between your ears and in your heart, is going to take time to accurately identify who you are, what are your, and I'm going to loosely use this word, perceived weaknesses, and how can you address them so that you can move forward. It's okay to be vulnerable. And like I said, just because you might perceive your inability to handle a given situation as a weakness, it's not a weakness. It's just something that you have to work on to improve. Because by being open to being vulnerable doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're soft. It doesn't mean you're not tough. It just means that you're human and that you haven't addressed this piece of the puzzle for you to be better all around. You can't improve unless you're looking and I'll use the analogy, unless you're looking in the mirror, you've got to be able to look inside you. You've got to be able to identify and openly acknowledge where your deficiencies are and attack those deficiencies so that you can get better, not just for yourself, but for your family and everybody around you. For my long-term group, or my long-range group, integrate mindfulness into your professional development. Make introspection a regular routine for you. This isn't something that you only do for a couple weeks and you're like, oh, I'm good. No, it's a continual process. Explore all the different options. There's classes you could go to. There's groups you can join. There's apps that you can use. Yes, I'm going to mention this. You could do yoga. But why I say yoga is because one of the tenets of yoga is that getting inside yourself. And it's not talking to the person next to you. It's not jaw-jacking with, your other friends while you're at the gym. It's not checking your phone. It's being inside yourself. But if you're completely opposed to yoga, you could go walking. Walking gives you that ability to be completely by yourself. Now, you don't want to necessarily be listening to music or a podcast, but maybe there's an app that walks you through mindfulness and mental resilience practices while you're going for this walk, while you're by yourself, while you're allowing you to look inside of you. Equally important for this internal growth is the benefits, though, that it brings to your external growth. It makes you a better coworker. It makes you a better parent. It makes you a better friend. It makes you a better mate. It makes you a better potential candidate for a company that you might want to go work for. Getting rid of this baggage that you might be carrying, getting rid of this inability to handle situations as they come, or not necessarily the inability to handle the situation, but the inability to come back down after the situation's resolved. All of those are going to make you well-rounded and overall a better you. If by chance you're already somebody who has found this path, maybe you're somebody who naturally can deal with this. That's great. But be a mentor. Talk to those people that are around you. See if somebody's struggling. Offer to be there just to talk to them without judgment, without any bias. Just, hey, how you doing? How are you handling A, B, or C? In conjunction with that, though, if you do get on this journey, don't go on the journey by yourself, in the sense of, once you start seeing the benefits and the changes you're experiencing, put your hand back and pull somebody forward with you. Again, reach out to those people that are around you and see if they need your help. And maybe seeing it through you, they might get rid of some of their stereotypes, some of their preconceived notions that this is just too much touchy-feely and I don't want to, I'm not soft like that. It's not about being soft. It's about improving you. And so if they can see it through you, that's going to bring them forward. Like I mentioned previously, journaling is going to help you be able to look back and see your progress. But another way that you can monitor how you're progressing, especially if you don't feel that you're perceiving it or it's not noticeable overtly to you, ask those around you. If you're making the conscious effort to be more mindful and be more mental resilient, and you're honestly putting the work in, but you perceive it as it's not changing or you're not seeing any changes, ask those around you. See if they're seeing changes. They might notice what seems like nothing to you but might be huge to them. So reach out, get the input from those that are around you while you're on this journey. In closing, improving your mental resilience and your mindfulness is going to help you reduce your stress. It's going to help you relax and manage those stressful situations. And like I said, it's not necessarily just your ability to address a critical situation. It's your ability to come back down from it and not stay in the red zone. It's going to enhance your focus and your concentration. If you put the work in, it's going to be easier for you to be present in that moment when you're having a conversation with somebody, when you're working on a project, when you are dealing with a situation. You're now not going to be thinking about all of the other peripheral stuff. And most importantly, if you're in a situation where, you're dealing with a teammate's life or their safety, you need to be fully invested in what you're doing at that moment. You're going to be better at change. We all know people who, even the smallest deviation in their routine, in their schedule, in how something is done at work, whatever it is, kind of sets them off. And so we're all in this bubble of transition, which is a huge change in our lives. For the long range group, you might have 10 years to get there. But how about taking one little piece off of the pressure plate to help you adjust and address your transition down the road? Like I said previously, it's going to help you improve your relationships. If you can be more aware of your emotions, your mental health, for no better term, you're going to be better at your relationships. It's going to bring you a sense of peace and well-being, and it's most importantly going to bring a decreased risk of mental health and illness. Thank you for taking the time to listen. As always, please follow and share the podcast. If there's anything you want me to cover, if you have any questions, please reach out. And other than that, I'll catch you next time.